So normally when we have this workshop, we are in a big conference room and we get to go around the room and say, hi, what's your name? What kind of work are you looking for? Well, that's not going to work here in this new reality of ours. But maybe you just want to go through and put in the chat box maybe where you live, because we have 115 or so people on the call. You could be anywhere in the state, and maybe you can start networking with some other folks in your area right now, right on this webinar. So where you're from and maybe what kind of occupation you're looking for, maybe some of that information so you can start with networking right now. I think it's really important. So put that in there, and we'll just have some fun watching the connections that make. Yes, I highly recommend the Project Manager Workshop, which is great. I took the coronavirus contact tracing workshop, and it was really interesting for me because that's something that I can use every day. When you hear about someone that maybe was exposed, what do you do next? Those sorts of things. So even that is interesting to take too. So lots of great workshops out there. So thank you for that. Those are really great workshops to take. So while you're doing that, I think that I will go in, take a minute to introduce myself. So my name is Rhonda, and I work out of the Duluth location. I have been here for about 10 years, and I got here because in 2009, I was laid off from a job. I had just started, so within a month I was laid off from a really, good opportunity. And I was telling everyone I was looking for work. And one day I ran into a friend of mine that works here, and she was the manager at the time. And I said, what do you do to help people find jobs? And she said, well, we're looking to hire someone right now to be a dislocated worker counselor. Would you be interested? Now, this isn't normally how you get a job with the government, but the timing was perfect. And the fact that I was telling everyone I was looking for work, I just sort of crossed the right threshold at the right time, and it worked out great. So I started as a dislocated worker counselor, and here I am 10 years later trying to help you navigate this new reality that we're in. So that's kind of my story. Now maybe if Sheila wants to hop on, maybe she can tell us a little bit about her story. Sheila?
Morning. I'm Sheila. I know I'm appearing as Art on your screen, but I couldn't get that switched. So it is Sheila behind the chat. I am coming to you from Career Force in International Falls, and I have a background in teaching and business. So with two combined together, it's provided a good basis for me in this position in helping businesses and career seekers. And my role today is mostly going to be monitoring the chat box. Everyone's microphones are muted, so we will be communicating through chat. If you haven't found the chat feature, it's the little speech bubble on the bottom right of your screen there. You can put your comments in the chat. If you would like everybody to see them, send them to everyone. If you would like to send Rhonda or myself a private message, you can send it to all panelists, and then just Rhonda and myself will be able to see it. I'll try to answer some questions along the way, but Rhonda will stop occasionally and answer questions you put in the chat. If we don't get to all the questions today, we will answer them in a follow-up email to whoever asked the question. And like Rhonda said, you'll get all the slides and presentation materials in a follow-up email. So try to relax, listen to the presentation. You don't have to write everything down today, okay? So I'm going to send it back to Rhonda.
Thank you, Sheila. Appreciate that. So here we go. I can get my screen to change. There we go. So getting started in your job search. Now, many of you have already started this, but this is sort of the, how do I even go about this in the series of workshops? So when you talk about creative job search, during COVID-19, it's got to be especially creative for everyone. And we, of course, feel terrible because we're not open to the public. We can't let you come in and work on your resume. We can't let you come in and do a a Skype or Zoom interview with an employer because we are closed to the public. Some locations are open, but many of them are closed. What we can do is help you get started, give you some of the tools that you need. Maybe one new tip or trick that you get today will help you get that next opportunity. We just want to give you the tools that you need to succeed in your job search. But think of how creative we need to be, but also how creative employers need to be, because they need to be sure that they've got enough hand sanitizer and that they've got enough masks and that everyone is social distancing and that somebody is going in for a test because they were exposed. Now what do we do to all the other employees in the location? They have so much on their minds right now, and everything is changing on a daily basis for them as far as bringing people on and maintaining the staff that they have. So it's really difficult for everyone right now. And just keep in mind that it impacts all aspects of our lives. But to keep a positive attitude and a positive outlook is really critical to your success, and it's a choice that we make every day. So what we're going to do is talk about setting up a game plan for your next career move, and maybe you need to get into a new occupation or the same career or industry, but maybe just a little bit different type of position. So we're just going to go through all the different steps that you need to get started. And of course, you are not the Lone Ranger here. There's many people, of course, as you watch the news channels, you'll see there's so many people that have lost their jobs due to COVID-19. And this affects you emotionally and psychologically and obviously financially and physically as well. So what we want to do is help you to kind of get through this. Maybe to create a schedule of things that you want to get done every day. We want to help you keep good records. Who did you talk to? When did you talk to them? What did you talk about? You may also want to start a budget sheet if you haven't already done that, because that's going to make some changes. Now, with unemployment, they're doing the best that they can to help you out, but it's certainly different than what you were making when you were working full-time. It's pretty stressful, and they say that it's right up there with divorce, separation, or loss of a loved one. So this is a big deal, folks, so to be sure to take it seriously. But also remember that your career, your job, was not the total representation of who you are. You are more than that. You're a mom, you're a grandma, you're a wife, you're a husband, you're a sister, you're a brother, all of those different things. That's who you are. But this change from employed to unemployment is really hard, because oftentimes when we meet someone on the street, we say, hey, so where do you work? What do you do? And so when you don't have an answer to that, you need to come up with your story. I got laid off because of COVID-19, but this is what I'm looking for. Don't be afraid to tell people you're looking for a job. And trust me, everyone has an opinion about your job search. That they can't understand, why is it so hard? There's so many jobs out there. You should be able to get a job in no time. When I looked for a job 5 years ago, it didn't take me more than a week, things like that. But remember, this is your job search, and you need to make it your personal mission to filter out some of those things that don't really apply to you. And hearing from other people that give you their wise opinions, that maybe employers don't ever read cover letters and you decide not to write one. And that's the one thing that employer was really looking for, was that cover letter. But you listened to your friend and didn't send one. If an employer asks for a cover letter, you send it. Or someone that tells you that thank you notes are a waste of time. When again, that could be the one thing that puts you over the edge and gets you that second interview or that job offer. So don't be afraid to do the things that you know are right. And trust me, writing thank you notes is the right thing to do. There's also people out there that say have a strong opinion that LinkedIn does not work at all. And that might be the one way that that HR person goes to find out a little bit more about you. So maybe it's just a good time to take inventory of what's changed since you lost your job. good and bad. Maybe you're happy. Maybe that last job was dreadful and you're so looking forward to a change, okay? It might make you very sad. It might make you angry. It could be very exciting for you to be getting into a new opportunity. Obviously, things were lost, but things might have changed. Opening up a new door to school, to a new opportunity. So let's look at both sides of this, happy and sad and upset and all those different things. But trust me, it's an emotional roller coaster. We hear this all the time, that people are so excited that they finally realize that, okay, I have a new opportunity. There's some relief there. Okay, I'm going to get into being a medical tech of some sort. I want to get into the medical field. Now's my chance. I can go do this. So you feel really good about that, those sorts of things. And then you get maybe some sadness because you realize I can't go to school and help my kids with their homework and, look for a job and all these different things. But then you mobilize your resources, you find someone to help your kids with school. Things will change. They'll go up and down, but just work with it and just recognize that. These are all valid feelings that you're going to feel. It's going to take longer than expected. So if you feel like it, go ahead and write in the chat box maybe where you are on the emotional roller coaster. Hopefully some of you are on the high side. Some of you might be on the low side. But let us know where you are, and maybe how you're helping yourself to move along, to get off of that emotional roller coaster. But your attitude is going to help you get through all of this. Having a good attitude is huge. Taking charge of your attitude. Maybe if you're angry at that last employer, maybe you want to write them a scathing letter and tell them exactly how you feel. You would never send that letter to that employer, but if it helps you get over that anger that you're feeling, you might want to just burn it. You might want to just put it in an ice cube tray and freeze it, run it over with your car. I don't care. But just to get that off your chest so that you can really take good charge of your attitude and let it give you strength. Your attitude can give you strength. But like I say, recognizing those feelings, giving yourself credit for those feelings, because this whole job loss thing is a shock to your whole self. Some things stay the same, but some things really change. So thank goodness for the things that stay the same. But recognizing your feelings. And then finding a safe outlet. How do you deal with those feelings? Who do you talk to? Obviously, you don't want to talk to your other laid-off people that have their crabby pants on every day. You want to talk to people that will help you feel better, that will bring you up and keep you energized, if you will. Maybe writing a journal would be a good thing to do. Exercising, oh my gosh, getting outside on a beautiful, sunny, snowy day can lift anyone's feelings. Spending time with family and friends, whether that's through Zoom or in person, socially distanced, just spending time with good, happy people that are going to support you in your journey here. And forgive that employer. Forgive COVID-19. No one asked for this, right? No one asked for any of this. If you're struggling to forgive, just find a way to move on. You have to accept this change. We don't want to. We liked that last job. I was so close to retirement, and now what am I going to do? Those sorts of things. But let go of it. It's not going to help you when you talk to your next employer. If you're still ticked off at the last one that let you go, you have to, like I say, figure out a way to let that go. And you have a choice to make, to either be positive or negative. And just keep in mind that positive attracts positive and negative attracts negative. So if you're going to hang around with negative people, just be ready for it. It could rub off on you. So stick around with positive people. Accept the change. Now maybe you can stay in your same industry, but take some steps to make it work for you. Maybe you need to get into something new. And on the careerforcemn.com website, there is a link to jobs in demand during COVID-19. So maybe take a look at that and see if there's a track that you can get onto, especially if we can help pay for some training, pay for some, help you with your on-the-job training, whatever we can do to help you out. Just know that we're here to help you, all right? But it's up to you what you decide to do. It's not up to us. We're just here to help you out a little bit. So like I say, the choice is yours to make every day. If you're going to feel stronger, if you're going to feel meek, energized. You want to be energized when you do your job search. It's a lot easier than being demoralized. Stay positive, but it's all about your attitude. It's going to help you determine the success of your job search. If you go into it with a positive attitude, you're going to have a much better outcome. So maybe it's time to step back and regroup a little bit, reassess a few things, do some interest assessments, some skills assessments. And you can find these on careerforcemn.com or a variety of other sites that will help you sort of figure out what kind of personality do I have? What should I go look for? Am I realistic, investigative? Am I the thinker? Am I the social person? Am I conventional? So figure out some of those sorts of things. But to help you do that, maybe it's important to keep some structure in your life and keep some routines going in your life, right? Keeping the schedule and put on your schedule and on your routine. Get up every morning, get dressed, get showered, eat breakfast. You can check all those things off right away, first thing of the day. But while you're doing your job search, you want to ask yourself, would I hire myself today? Am I the best version of myself today? Should I really be going out and networking today, or should I stay home and do a little bit more research? And I think I'll probably say research 50 times today. It's so important in every step of your job search, okay? And employers are gonna see your attitude when you walk in, even when you talk over Zoom. They'll see if you're sitting back like this, looking into the computer screen, or if you're leaning forward, if you're engaged, if you're interested. If you're looking all over the place, you're not going to be interested. So make sure that you are the best you can be. And so maybe if you're wearing those crabby pants, it's time to just sit back and maybe not do your networking on the day you've got your crabby pants on. And trust me, everyone has crabby pants. I think I got yelled at 3 different times yesterday working at the front desk. So everyone has crabby pants. Trust me, just maybe don't network the day you're wearing them. Different ways to stay positive, and again, positivity is huge. Talking to others that are positive. Remember, those negative people are going to bring out the negativity when you want to stay positive. Joining support groups like this, I would even call this a support group of sorts. There's Job Club, there's all those workshops that are going on statewide, and to keep track of those, remember, careerforcemn.com, you can see the entire list. Now, there's a lot of things that go on statewide, so keep an eye on that. But also, you can pop into workshops that are located in other areas. Maybe Sheila's got something going on in International Falls that could apply to you if you live in Mankato. Hop on those workshops. We encourage you to use all the tools that we have to offer. It's all going to help support you in your job search. Exercising is good. It releases those endorphins that give you a good feeling just about everything. I think that is good. Counseling, because this does hit some people really, really hard, you may need some professional guidance. Feel free to utilize that. It's so critically important, and there's lots of resources out there for you to tap into if you need that. Positivity, positive self-talk is very important. It's so easy to get caught up in this, oh, you're never going to find a good job, you're too old to find a good job, those sorts of things. It's so easy to do that, but you need to turn that around, and you're old, maybe, I'm old, maybe, but well, look at what I can bring to that next job. I've got work ethic that just doesn't stop. I show up on time. I work 8 hours a day. If I'm getting paid for 8 hours a day, I'm going to work 8 hours a day. I'm a quick learner, those sorts of things. That's what my maturity brings to the next job. So telling yourself positive things. And I don't know if any of you remember Stuart Smalley from Saturday Night Live when he used to say, you're good enough, you're smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like you. Tell yourself that every day. You're a good person. You didn't ask for this. COVID did this to you, most likely. So be sure that you tell yourself good things. This is not your fault. And you know what? Maybe you'll find an even better job or a new career that's going to be great. You're a good person, and good things are going to happen to you. Tell yourself that every day. Tell yourself one good thing about yourself or what's going to happen that day that's going to be good for you. So maybe enter into the chat box once again things that you maybe are doing to overcome the stress of your job loss. Maybe you'll give somebody else another idea. Here's another one. Volunteering can be great because you never know when you're standing there packing boxes for folks at the food shelf, packing boxes for folks. You don't know who you're going to be standing next to. It might be the HR person for the local hospital organization that you want to go work for. You don't know who it's going to be. So talk about things. Be positive. Get out, talk to people. Like I said, I got this job at Career Force because I walked through the right threshold at the right time, and I was telling everybody I was looking for work. So don't be afraid to do that. Lots of research in LinkedIn, looking at volunteer opportunities, online classes, meditating. That's awesome. Scheduling, hiking, and connecting with others. Those are all great things to be doing. Bring that stress level down to a manageable level where you can move on, be happy, do things, dance like nobody's looking, and just go for it. Good things will happen to you, all right? Don't forget that. Good things will happen to you. Music, yep. That's awesome. So here's your game plan. Moving forward, there are all sorts of websites you can go to do interest assessments or skills assessments, which I think are really fun because they might come up with ideas or jobs for you that you've never even considered before, which is great. CareerForceMN.com has interest and skills assessments, and what you want to do is be sure that you're logged into our system, so set up an account, and it will save that information for you. So you can go back and take a look at it again, okay? So be sure you set up an account on CareerForceMN.com to do that. But this is going to help you in some of that self-examination, some of that soul-searching that you need to do. And again, it's going to take a lot of research, a lot of thinking about yourself and how can I use my skills and interests for that next career opportunity. How am I going to match up so that I'm happy at my job because I've got the interest in it, but I also have the skills to do it or can get the skills to do the job. So assessing yourself is really great. CareerOneStop.org is great. My Skills, My Future. You're going to get this in an email, remember, so you're going to get all of these links that you can tap into. But it's going to help you do your homework to figure out where are there skills gaps. What class do I need to take? Maybe it's that project management course you're looking at on Coursera. Maybe that would be what it takes to meet the skills for that next opportunity, okay? They can help you find hidden skills and talents, things you never thought of as a skill or as a talent. It'll give yourself credit for that. Whenever I do these things, it comes up that I should be a farmer. And trust me, there aren't very many farmer jobs around Duluth, Minnesota. But I think what that is telling me is that because when I was a kid, I spent all of my summers on my grandfather's farm in southern Minnesota, and I love it. It's part of me. It's part of my soul. And ideally, I would love to have a hobby farm. I would love to do that. Now, it doesn't make sense for me here to look for that as a career, but I think it's interesting that it brings up those things from the depths of your soul, what might be of interest to you. You know, it's just, I think that is really interesting. And don't limit yourself with, I can't do that, I can't do this, I can't do that. Just if you want, if you're interested in it, give yourself credit. If you can do it, give yourself credit for it. So these are some of the links that will help you figure out what are those skills gaps. And then you can either make the move or don't make the move. It's up to you what you want to do. If you want to do the effort to take the classes, to get to that next level, into that next career, it's up to you. It really is. If we can help you along the way, we're happy to do that. Again, check with your dislocated worker counselor, and I think somebody just wrote that on in the chat box, so take a look at that. Looking for through Coursera, through GCF Learn Free is a computer-based program that you can log into. Maybe Sheila, maybe you can type that into the chat box. Taking computer courses, so if you want to learn a little bit about Excel of any version, or of word processing programs. They've got all the different programs out there that you can tap into and take at your own pace, of course, so there's no rush. But you can take those classes. Microsoft, Google Docs. I mean, we're doing everything virtually now. Maybe Google Docs is good for you. Some of those core math skills that you need to take. And then there's career planning and those sorts of classes as well. Yeah, but make the move or don't make the move. It's up to you. So here's the screen for careerforcemn.com, and this online tools is right on the main toolbar to go on and take that employee readiness assessment to figure out what is it that I need to do in order to be really job ready. Do I need some computer classes? Do I need to practice on Zoom some more so that I'm ready for that next job interview or that next networking session? Skills and interest assessments are on there. The jobs in demand during COVID-19, like I mentioned, are listed right there. And the Coursera courses. Again, you will need to have registered for that already. Nice thing about careerforcemn.com is that it does save your results. Many of these others don't. That I'm going to show you. So it's nice to do it in here. Or if you do get results off of one of these other sites, like My Skills, My Future, print off those results if you can, or save them on your computer somehow so that you can go back to those and say, what was that next job they said I might be good for? It will produce a list of occupations. So if you type in, enter your current or past position, you type in dental assistant, and it will come up with some other positions that may be similar, that maybe you, with a little bit of tweaking, could qualify for. So it's really interesting to do that and check that out. Another one, this is a state of Minnesota job skills transfer assessment, basically the same thing. This is what I did, what could I do going forward with the same skill set that I had during this previous position. Now, it looks like what we have here is different positions in the business and financial operations occupations. So you might click on, oh, what does it mean to be an appraiser in real estate? You can click on that job area and find out more about that occupation. So that's a state of Minnesota site, so all that information would be relative to our state. So here we go. So now preparing for the job hunt. Again, you want to be organized, you want to keep good records. Sheila's going to talk to us about SMART goals and how to stay on track and be accountable. You're going to learn about the importance of researching and where and what to research. I mean, there's all sorts of things you could research on, but we're going to talk to you about that. Identifying key job search tools and those sorts of things throughout this next session.
Can we cut in for just a minute, Rhonda?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So there's a statement in here about the over 50 workshop, and the workshops don't appear on the CareerForce MN website until closer to the date that they are going to be presented. I believe the over 50 workshop was in February. Do you recall, Rhonda, what the date was?
I'm looking at that date right now. It will be on, oh, I have to go back to the screen. It'll be 5 weeks from today.
Yeah, I believe it was like the first week in February, so it should show up.
February 4th, I bet.
Okay. So that should appear on the CareerForce MN work site probably the end of January.
Yeah, I'm looking at the 2020 calendar, so somewhere early in February, I'm guessing.
Yeah. And then...
Oh, and yeah, somebody just mentioned the Catherine Breyers-Breet webinars. They are listed as well. They were all recorded. They're wonderful too. So there's somebody put in February 9th is when the over 50.
Okay, yeah, and the previous workshops, the recorded versions are on the website already as well. So if you don't want to wait until February, you could certainly listen to one of those.
Absolutely.
There was another comment about support groups or clubs for over 60. I put the link in there for the networking job club calendar, so you could look on there and see if there are any that are targeted towards, you know, over 50, over 60 job seekers. Do you have any other ideas, Rhonda?
You know, connecting with your local CareerForce location, there may be other things that maybe we don't do, but I know in Duluth we have a professional women's network that is all virtual right now, but that may be a way, and I believe it's free, to meet with other people, other professionals in your area. So there may be things like that in your area. So I always recommend contacting your local CareerForce for some of those local ideas.
Okay, I think that covers everything right now.
So someone just asked about whose webinars, and when we started this online webinar series, we hired a woman named Catherine Breyers-Breet, I believe. So if you go to the recorded workshops on CareerForceMN.com, she's at the very beginning of those. And the very first one, I believe, Sheila, correct me if I'm wrong, is on virtual interviewing, which is really great. And everyone should watch that one because that's the world that we're in. So check those ones out. Thanks, Sheila. So here we go on to preparing for the job hunt. Keeping good records, all those things. I think I talked about all those things, networking cards, portfolios, and your references. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about now. So getting organized. As we talked about managing your schedule, make sure that you balance your job search with other activities. We talked about walking, hiking, job club, all those different things. Some will be job search related, some will not. You need balance. Mental health requires us to keep some balance. Scheduling time for researching, scheduling time for networking, scheduling time for workshops like this and job clubs that you're going to join, which is great. Having a place in your home where you can do these things quietly without disturbances. You know, keeping the dogs happy and the kids happy, because you're balancing a lot of different things. A lot of your kids might be home from school doing hybrid learning, or it's all at home, you know, whatever. So you've got a lot of different things to balance. So staying organized is huge. Sheila's going to talk to us about SMART goals, keeping good records, choosing a system that works for you, whatever it is, whether it's on the computer, an Excel spreadsheet, whether it's paper, you know, using good old-fashioned paper. There's a networking log that's going to be in your follow-up materials. If you like writing things down, do that. If it's recipe cards, if it's, you know, a 3-ring binder, whatever it is, whatever works for you to stay organized so that when that employer calls you, you applied for the job a month ago, they're finally calling you, you can quickly find out who gave you that referral, how did you apply for that job, what was the resume you used to apply for that job. Keeping good records is critical. Because not all employers get back to you right away. It may take a while for them to go through their stack of applications and get to you. So keeping good records is critical. recording your contacts, so that if you do get that job, if Sue Jones down the street gave you the name, you can go back to Sue Jones and say, thank you so much for that referral. I got the job. I had a great interview, whatever it is. Keeping a detailed record of your work history so that you can easily complete those job applications. Even having your complete work history in a Word document so that you can copy and paste the pertinent information into an application or a resume is great. And then keeping an updated list of all of those usernames and passwords you use, because every company, every website is going to have their own username and password. And you might have to change them every so often. So just be sure that you keep a good list of that so that you can get in. Every day we get people calling up saying, I can't get into my unemployment account. I've locked myself out. I guess I forgot my password. It's a bugaboo to try and get some of those back again. So be sure that you keep a good list of those things. But setting up the goals is going to help you balance your job search and stay on track. Again, we talked about joining a networking group or a job club, you know, even reporting back to a friend with what you're doing every day. Family members can help you, you know, stay accountable, you know. How many jobs did you apply for today? It's going to help you keep your eye on the ball of what's out there for you. What's your goal? What are you going after? Especially using the internet. And so if you can, it might be a good idea to get an email account just for your job search, because if you're on your email and or on your computer and you get an email from Aunt Mary who's got a new recipe for cranberry apple pie and you want to go make that pie, you've just been derailed from your research that you're trying to do from that email. So I would, if you're going to do that, get an email and use the email account just for job search. Make it very professional. Something that when that email goes to an employer, they're gonna say, oh, here's an email from Rhonda Rutford. We interviewed her last week. They're gonna recognize it, because maybe my cute, what did I used to say last time? My pretty grandma at yahoo.com email doesn't mean anything to an employer, and it's not very professional. So I may change that to something more professional, just for your job search. Use prettygrandma at yahoo.com to get the pictures of your grandkids, all that sort of thing, the recipes from Aunt Mary. But while you're doing your job search, maybe it'll just be one thing that will help you stay on track. Because you're going to get a lot of information during your job search, a lot of names you need to keep track of, a lot of emails going back and forth. Just to set up a Zoom interview may take 5 or 6 or 7 emails back and forth. Just might be easier to keep it all in one email. When you get that next great job, you don't need to check that email anymore, unless you want to see what else is coming your way. So that would be one thing that I would recommend that you do. So gather up all those supplies that you need, your computer, your spreadsheet, your notebook, or whatever you're going to use, miscellaneous supplies, paper, pencil, phone charger. Always have your phone charged up. You don't want to be in the middle of setting up a Zoom conference call with someone and have your phone die. You want to be sure that you're always charged up, so just have it handy. So now I think Sheila is going to talk to us about SMART goals.
Brenda?
Sure.
Yeah, so I always find it helpful if I can see an example of how something works. So the purpose of a SMART goal is to help you balance your job search, keep you on track, and hold yourself accountable. And I see in the chat several people are using some great management tools for keeping themselves organized. And maybe this is just another one you could add to your resources that you're using. So a SMART goal is, first of all, something that is specific. You want to choose a goal. Exactly what do you want to do in your job search? Make sure it's something that's realistic. If it's not attainable, you may give up on it. So in this example, our goal is going to be to prepare a resume. And then you want to make sure it's measurable. How will you know that you are on track to complete your goal? So it might help if you set some mini deadlines or use a timeline. maybe if you tell a friend, you know, so you can be accountable to them and they can keep you on track. And so in this case, for your resume, maybe you are going to present your rough draft of your resume to a career counselor in 10 days. So you know in 10 days that you need to have a rough draft together to present to that counselor. And then you want to make sure that your goal is achievable. You know, what resources are going to help you complete your goal? So, you know, one of the Career Force resume workshops is a great resource to use. We offer online resume reviews. Those skills assessments that Rhonda talked about, those are a great place to get a list of skills that you could present to an employer on your resume. And then, you know, job descriptions from past jobs. That is a really great resource to use to get statements for your resume, you know, along with your job history. Another thing that I have found really helpful when helping people with resumes is any letters of recommendations that they've received and performance reviews, because oftentimes these two things will tell you exactly what your accomplishment was when you use that skill, and accomplishments are a great thing to present to employers on your resume. And then relevant. You want to make sure that your goal is important to your job search. In this case, you know, in today's age, resumes have to be uploaded to online applications. They're sent in emails, sent through the mail. So it's a very important part of your job search. So having a well-written resume together can relieve a lot of stress. And then it also makes it easy for you to just edit that resume and target it towards specific jobs. I see in the chat people are looking at changing careers. So you can target your resume to different careers by looking at those transferable skills. And you're probably going to have, you know, maybe 2 or 3 different resumes depending on the career you're applying for at the time. And then make sure that your SMART goal is timely. Have a deadline when you're going to complete your goal. Use a specific date. Give your friend that goal date so they can check in with you. So in this case, you know, maybe your goal date is to have your resume done 2 days after you receive feedback from that career counselor. So once you meet with them, you're going to take their suggestions, if you like them, incorporate them into your resume, and have your resume done within 2 days after that date. And remember that you can be working on more than one goal at a time, but just make sure it's manageable for you. You know, prioritize what you need to do today to get back to work as soon as possible. And we are going to send you a SMART goal worksheet in the follow-up material, so it'll kind of give you a guideline to follow when you are setting your own SMART goals. Okay? Okay, Rhonda, back to you.
Thank you, Sheila. Appreciate that. So you now have your quiet area in your home to do your work. You've got all of your materials around you. You're organized. You've got your record-keeping book ready to go. Now you're going to start researching because you know the companies that you maybe want to go talk to. You want to research the company to find out their products and their services. Is this something that you can, if you're a salesperson, can I sell this product? If it's a company that sells services, is this something that I believe in? Is this something that I want to do? Now, some people will have to take a survival job, if you will. But these are the things, if you're looking for a career, things you kind of want to think about. This company's products and services, their size, their history, their location. Do you want to drive a half an hour to get to work, or do you want to work just down the street? Do you want to work for a huge company where you are one of 1,000 employees, or do you want to work in a small organization? And the company's history. Have they had financial troubles? Things like that. There are opportunities for growth within the company. That's huge for people. You want to not get into a job and just stay at the same level forever and ever and ever. You want growth. Is the company growing? What's their mission state? What's their philosophy? Do I believe in what they say? There's a hospital up in Duluth where their mission statement is the patient above all else. If you're in the medical field and that really resonates with you, that means something. And so that you can go into that interview with that feeling of, you know what, your mission statement just hits home with me, and I believe it truly is the patient above all else. So doing your research, figuring out their philosophy. I worked for a company one time where the company philosophy was, we work all week to stay on par with the competition, we work all weekend to get ahead. I showed up on a weekend with my brand new baby in a stroller, putting together my new hire packets for Monday. That's not where I should have been with my brand new baby. That was not a philosophy that worked for me at that point in my life. So think about those sorts of things. Maybe there are, recent changes or initiatives, and of course now COVID has prompted many employers to do this, but maybe working from home. Maybe it's great. Maybe that's exactly what you want to do. Or maybe that's exactly what you don't want to do. You want to get out of the house. You want to go to an office. You want to get out of the house, like I say. So think about those things. Human resource policies. Maybe they've now you're allowed to work 4 10-hour days, or which would be wonderful. Some people like long weekends or love, having Wednesdays off, whatever it is. If you've got that chance to do that, and that's important to you, that's huge. Or maybe if you work through your lunch or don't take breaks, you can have a half day off on Fridays in the summer. That might be exactly something that really is important to you. And so looking at the labor market information as well on the state of Minnesota site or on some of those links I sent you before, is there a bright outlook for this occupation? Or is it going to be something that I'm going to be back here listening to Rhonda and Sheila again in a couple of years because it didn't have a bright outlook and I've lost my job again? So think about all those things. And of course, salary and benefits. Most of us don't work for a hobby. We want to get paid for the work that we do. We want benefits. We want all those things that come along with your employment. So doing research on all of those things. Now, this can be online. This could be talking to friends. This could be, you might make connections through LinkedIn. So think about all of those things. It will all make a difference to you in your job search. But research, research, research. Going to the company websites. To find out what kind of jobs do they have open. See if it's something that you can look for. In different industries or different occupations within a variety of industries, because the medical career is not just all patient care. There's computer positions, there's marketing, there's support positions, there's non-patient related positions. So the medical field is huge with a variety of occupations within it. Maybe you want to look at just those sorts of occupations. But the research is going to give you a better understanding of the company's culture, their industry growth, how your skills can be applied to that job or that industry. And it can help you determine if you need more training, if your skills and interests match that position. Press releases give you lots of information. I think there's still something called the newspaper. It's still online or might be online in your area. But checking out the press releases and the biz, they used to call it in Duluth the biz buzz, kind of what's going on in the business world. Who just bought a business? Who's hiring? Who's adding 100 employees because they just got a new account? Keep track of that stuff. It's part of your research. Now, I think probably lots of libraries are closed right now, but you can go on to there if you have an account. It's called, I should have written this down. Somebody help me if you know the big digest where you can get lots of employer information. I'm stumped and I'm terribly embarrassed. But you can go online to the reference sections of the libraries and get listings of information. I think it's Reference USA, and you can drill down into your area, drill down to just employers that have over 50 employees, things like that, to find out the kind of size of company you want. just manufacturing companies, just medical support positions, things like that. So that's the name of it, Reference USA. Somebody put on their hoovers.com. That may be something as well. Check in LinkedIn. Who do you know that works at the local hospital you want to work with? Get some information from them. Get some references, some names, some finding out about the company culture through your LinkedIn network. Going to their career information sites, the ones that we showed you earlier, can help you out. Informational interviews. Thank you, Sheila, for putting that out there for me. Informational interviews are great. Now, what these are not job interviews, but if you're thinking about getting into a different occupation and you want to know more about what do they do there. Maybe I want to get into the craft beer brewing industry. I might go visit a couple behind the scenes to see what does it take to get into this industry? What does it take to become a brew master, whatever it is. It's a conversation that you're having with them. No pressure of, I need a job, you got to hire me. It's, what do you do here? How do I get into this industry? What would it take for me to go from customer service rep to brewmaster? Those sorts of things. So it's a conversation that you have with them. And then maybe if it is something you want to do, maybe you follow up with a thank you note or with a resume, those sorts of things. And maybe then when they are looking for someone to run the front desk when they reopen, they might think of you and say, who is that person that came in and we had a chat with a couple of months ago? Just a thought. But that's called an informational interview. Research through your network to find out some of those things. Like I told you, the philosophy of one of my former employers. If that's not going to work for you, then that maybe isn't the place for you to apply for a position. Obviously, research with your local career force location. We are getting calls from employers every day looking for people. How do I post a job? Where do I find resumes? All those sorts of things. So talk to your local career force staff. One thing that you can have in your back pocket is something just called a networking card. You can print these up yourself. You can go to an Office Max shop and buy cardstock and print on them, but it's just to have something in your back pocket so that if you meet someone at the grocery store, you can say, hey, I know you work over at Essentia Health. Would you give this card to your department manager? I know you work in the emergency room. I'd really love an opportunity to come in and talk to them and see what it's all about. It's something that you can immediately give to someone, and then oftentimes you get their card in return, which gives you full permission to give them a call. But oftentimes we don't walk around with our nicely printed resume in our grocery cart when we're out and about. So that's something that you can have printed up locally or at online ordering as well. Vistaprint, there you go. Thank you, David. Vistaprint is a great place to get your cards printed up. They're professional. You can design them yourself. Just make sure you proof them good before you send them in because you don't want to have a typo on there, like ability to work indecently in the workplace instead of ability to work independently in the workplace, and have 500 cards printed up. Make sure you proofread them good so that they're perfect. Now, work portfolios, this is something that you're going to talk about in one of the upcoming workshops, so I'm not going to go into that too much, but this is just something that you can put maybe work samples in, reference letters in, things like that, certifications that you get, that Coursera Project Manager certification you get when you've completed that course. Put into a binder so that you can bring that and show that to employers. So we're almost out of time here. We're just running up. If you give me another minute, we're just going to talk about references. You want references, maybe even a pool of references you can pull from and use different references for different jobs that you're applying for. People who can speak objectively about you for that position you're applying for. Make sure that you know where they are for the next few weeks so that if you don't write down their home phone number in Duluth, Minnesota, when they're actually out in Arizona and only using their cell phone number. Find out where they're going to be. Are they going to be available? Here's the job I applied for, and tell them the things that you want them to know about you and how you would love for them to talk about you in regard to that position you're applying for. So find people that will speak smart about you for the position you're applying for. Always thank them. Don't use people that could be construed as controversial. Maybe don't use the head of the National Rifle Association because you're a card-carrying member, unless maybe you're applying for a job up at Gander Outdoor in the gun department. Then it's huge. That's a great reference to use, but maybe not all the time. So keep that in mind, who you're going to use as your references. Peers, supervisors, instructors, former vendors that you worked with, things like that. Make sure that you let them know that you're using their name every time you use them. It's nothing more awkward than, hi, this is Sue Jones with St. Luke's calling for a reference on Mary Smith. What can you tell us about her? And I have no idea which Mary Smith I'm talking about. Make sure that you let them know. So finally, in review, this is what I want you to do. I want you to think about that recovering from job loss. How am I going to get through this? Getting organized, setting up those SMART goals that Sheila talked about. Where and when to research. Remember, research is huge. Knowing about what's coming up with that company next, what they're up to is great when you walk into an interview. Gathering up all of your tools, all those sorts of things. So I thank you for coming. We're just a couple of minutes over. If you want to stick around, maybe we can answer some questions. Otherwise, as Sheila said, we will send those out afterwards. Be sure to register for next week's workshop, the identifying your skills, applications, and those work portfolios I mentioned. So thank you, and we hope this was helpful for you. Have a good day, everyone.